Retire the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. As we begin our gifting ceremony for the completion of the Montford Point Marine Memorial, please allow me to introduce our official party. We ask that you hold your applause until all have been introduced. Gunnery Sergeant Retired Forrest E. Spencer, Jr., National President, Montford Point Marine Association, Incorporated. Lieutenant General Robert F. Hedelund, Commanding General, 2nd Marine Expeditionary Force. Commissioner Jack Bright, Chairman, Onslow County Board of Commissioners. And the Honorable Sammy Phillips, Mayor, City of Jacksonville. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our official party. Today's ceremony honors the outstanding achievements of the approximately 20,000 Marines who served their country honorably and passed through the now hallowed grounds of Montford Point Camp. We are elated to have some of these heroes present with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lieutenant General Hedelund to the podium.
Okay, so we're already amphibious here this morning, apparently. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I think this is supposed to be up here. There we go. Okay. It's a great honor to be here today. I'd like to thank those distinguished guests who are with us today, both retired general officers, retired Marines, local dignitaries, to include our guests of honor. I'm not sure if Senator Brown made it here today or Representative Cleveland, but certainly Commissioner Bright, Mayor Phillips, Mr. Spencer, and our honored guests, of course, from the state of North Carolina, Onslow County, and the city of Jacksonville. Ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be here. But most importantly, I think we ought to have a round of applause for our Montford Point Marines who are present with us today. Please. To be here publicly this morning to acknowledge the Montford Point Marine Memorial and the passing along of the statue that it represents is, as our Secretary of the Navy said, an honor to the legacy of the Montford Point Marines. We owe a great debt to all Marines who have gone before us, but we owe a special debt to those like the Montford Point Marines who overcame injustice and built a better Corps, indeed, a better nation. We, in turn, owe it to all those who come after us to build upon the legacy of our Montford Point heroes. In TUMEF, we would say this is part of what matters to us. One of the cornerstones of our What Matters to Us theme is we treat each other with dignity and respect. And the legacy of the Montford Point Marines is a great example of why that is so important. All Marines, regardless of their distinguishing characteristics, contribute every day to the success and betterment of our Corps and to each of us. This is akin to what Montford Point Marine John F. Smith, who we sadly lost this year, reportedly used to say, "Make your good be better till your better is best." If we do that alone, our Corps will always remain our nation's force in readiness. For our Corps' most precious resource isn't the airplanes, the tanks, or any piece of equipment. It's our nation's sons and daughters, all coming from different backgrounds, different regions, different heritage, but each of which has earned the title Marine. If we take care of them and lead them with dignity and respect, they will thrive and will always be ready, as the Montford Point Marines were when the nation calls. To the Montford Point Marine Association President, Mr. Forrest Spencer, I say thank you, sir, for your determination to honor the Montford Point Marines. My hat is off to the efforts of your team over the years who have worked incredibly hard to make this project a success. That we are able to have this acknowledgement ceremony is a testament to your team's dedication and to your personal leadership in pursuing the mission of your association, which reads in part, to preserve the legacy and perpetuate the memory, spirit, and comradeship developed through shared adversities. This memorial will remain long after we are gone and will remind future generations of Marines about the legacy of the Montford Point Marines, who blazed a trail into the history of our Corps by their courage and their dignity. I thank them, and I thank you all for what you have done for our nation. And I thank you for letting me be just a small part of this historic event. May God bless each of you. May God bless the United States, and Semper Fidelis. Hoorah.
Thank you, Lieutenant General Hedelund. Please welcome Commissioner Jack Bright to the podium.
Well, weatherman's wrong again. Said it was going to rain. Didn't rain yet. They always tell you we got a 70% chance of rain, but they don't tell you got 30% chance of sunshine. So here we are. I'd like to recognize a couple folks that are here that are elected officials and that I have actually seen. There may be more, but Senator Brown is here. Thank you, Harry, for being here. Lisa Brown, clerk of our Superior Court, is here. Thank you, Miss Lisa, for being here. Judge Henry Stevens from the Onslow County Courts is here. Judge Al Kirby, I believe somebody said Judge Kirby was here. Thank you, sir. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here and supporting this very important dedication today. Also, I think Councilman Bob Warden is here. I think I had seen him earlier. So thank you all for coming. If I missed anyone else, I'm sorry. Welcome to the Montford Point Marine Memorial Gifting Ceremony. I was here last year. We had a big turnout here last year for this ceremony to further this monument. It's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you for coming, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of this ceremony today. I'd like to recognize all of the Montford Point Marines that's here. These guys here, raise your hand. The original Montford Point Marines. Let's give them another hand. It's a pleasure to see you here. It's a pleasure that you took the chance in coming out in the weather and being here to see the furtherance of this memorial ceremony. Some of the Montford Point Marines I knew personally. Some of them and all of them were pillars of our community, all of the Montford Point Marines, but mainly Turner Blunt. He was on the city council for long term. I would like to recognize him and his family for his contribution to Jacksonville and Onslow County. He passed away a couple years ago now, and he will always be remembered for his contribution to Onslow County and the city of Jacksonville for what he did. Also, Sergeant Major Edgar Huff, I knew him briefly in my role as a police officer earlier in my career. He had come down to the police station to discuss items of importance that was involved with the Marine Corps and the training mission for the Marine Corps, and communicated back and forth with our chief many times. And he was also part of the establishment of, I know probably all of the Montford Point Marines remember Sergeant Major Edgar Huff, and I didn't know Sergeant Major Johnson, but he was also a pillar in the organization of the Montford Point Marines. What a beautiful monument that represents the Montford Point Marines that's here. The anti-aircraft gun over to my right that was used by the Montford Point Marine, and some of you folks and some of you Marines that were in the Montford Point Marine original group, I would imagine you're really familiar with that piece of equipment over there. And also the uphill battle that this monument behind me represents, that also represents the uphill battle that the Montford Point Marines endured while they were here training. And also, it's actually a symbol of the Marine Corps. It's always an uphill battle. You always read and see movies about the Marines taking a hill somewhere, and that's just a good representation of the Montford Point Marines and also the Marine Corps in general. I have an announcement to make. Some of you may or may not know, but Monday, just less than 72 hours ago, the Onslow County Board of Commissioners appropriated $75,000 to build a permanent restroom out here facility, so we won't have to use porta-johns. The total project is about $350,000, and I was told by the Vietnam Veterans Administration, and they're here, the Walkers that originally brought this to our attention, that it's well needed, and that the also has a facility there in that restroom facility that will have golf carts to transport the disabled to and from events like this. So thank you for allowing me to speak. It's a pleasure. I'm honored to be here. Have a good day.
Thank you, Commissioner Bright. Mayor Phillips, would you please come forward?
Good morning, everybody. On behalf of the City of Jacksonville, the Jacksonville City Council, and a grateful community, I welcome the Montford Point Marines, their families, and their descendants. I also welcome all the friends and supporters that have come out today for this ceremony. Today we celebrate another phase completed in this monument to the proud service and legacy of the Montford Point Marines. It completes another phase of the memorial, but there is still a lot of work left to be done. That work is to continue to seek out and recognize those who served as Montford Pointers. For more than a year now, I have been proud of our One City, My City, Our City campaign for the City of Jacksonville. It embodies the spirit we express here today. None of us can correct the wrongs of the yesterday cast upon the Montford Pointers and others. They suffered discrimination and were made to feel unwelcome in our community, our society, and our nation. We can acknowledge that. We can help build monuments to tell the story. Your city has helped support this wonderful memorial, and it is absolutely beautiful. It will inform generations to come about the story of the Montford Point Marines. Today, I want to take two actions. The first is to declare all Montford Pointers honorary citizens of the City of Jacksonville. Welcome. While many Montford Pointers were not even allowed in Jacksonville during their service, they are now honored, remembered, and cherished. And the second action is that as mayor, I pledge to support the efforts of the Montford Point Marine Association to find those who served but who have not yet been recognized for their service with the Congressional Gold Medal. 7 more are being recognized this evening, but as the stars behind me here on the wall indicate, there are many who have served without recognition. We want the families of those who served to have this legacy of our nation recognized. Your city and your mayor is proud of the service of the Montford Pointers. Your city is proud to be supportive of the efforts to build this memorial, to support the Montford Point Marine Association search, and as our billboard proclaims, we welcome you back. Jacksonville and Montford Point Marines are different today. Montford Pointers have grown old or older, and some of them have passed. Jacksonville has matured, grown, and adapted. Today, Jacksonville celebrates our legacy of a caring community with the additional moniker of Receive a Hero's Welcome. Today, we give the hero's welcome to the Montford Pointers, their families and friends. So on behalf of the City of Jacksonville, the Jacksonville City Council, and our residents, I say thank you. I also say welcome home. and I bring you our community's thanks for your service.
Thank you, Mayor Phillips. Please welcome President Spencer to the podium.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, I prayed last night for an hour and a half of clear weather. Let us hope that my prayers are answered. Lieutenant General Hedelund, Mrs. Hedelund, general officers, distinguished visitors, dignitaries, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, to our Montford Point Marines, welcome home. I'm pleased to stand before you today's gifting ceremony as we mark the official conclusion of Phase 2 construction of this magnificent Montford Point Marine Memorial. It is only fitting that we pause to acknowledge a number of individuals whom, without their passion, dedication, commitment, and unprecedented attention to detail, we would not have been able to complete this beautiful memorial on time and under budget. To them, I offer a round of applause. I know that he's running around here somewhere, so where is Houston Chanel? See? Come on up, sir. Come and post yourself. Right here is fine. First person that I'd like to acknowledge is CW05 retired Houston Chanel. Houston accepted this challenge to oversee construction of this memorial, and he spent countless hours guiding, directing, consulting, liaisoning, not sleeping, worrying, resolving, and then repeating the process all over again many times. He held fast to the notion that there's no I in team and that this memorial is a true testament to the love, care, and commitment that he and his committee exuded throughout the entire construction process. To you, Houston, and from the entire Montford Point Marine Association, we just like to say thank you for your service. I'd also like to take a little time to acknowledge the following individuals. So if you're in the audience, please stand. Mrs. B.F. Reed, are you here? Mrs. Reed designed the original concept of our memorial. Mr. O. Liam Wright. Mr. O. Liam Wright is the CEO of True Interactions and designed the layout of the memorial. Smith Senate Architect developed the plans necessary to begin the building. Mr. Stan Watts of Atlas Braun Casting cast our beautiful statue, and Mr. Travis Waters of Coastal Sandblasting, who restored the M1A1 90mm anti-aircraft gun, and Nick Lanier, project manager of Pro Construction, and managed the subcontractors who built this memorial. So to all of you, a round of applause. As you can see, much work has gone into creating the Montford Point Marine Memorial. The end result is a fitting tribute to the dedicated service and legacy of the Montford Point Marines. I am proud to report to our Montford Point Marines that your monument is now complete. Thank you.
Thank you, President Spencer. Lieutenant General Hedelund and Montford Point Marine Sergeant Retired John L. Spencer, will you please join President Spencer as we begin the gifting presentation? Escorting Sergeant Spencer is Colonel Retired Grover C. Lewis III, the first African American to command Camp Johnson. Ladies and gentlemen, today's gifting ceremony is symbolic of a Marine Corps change of command ceremony, wherein the transfer of a unit's colors signifies a change in authority and accountability of command from the outgoing to incoming commander. National Monument Director, Chief Warrant Officer 5, retired Houston T. Chenal, please deliver the Montford Point Marine statue to the National President. Today, National Montford Point Marine Association Incorporated will transfer ownership of the Montford Point Marine Memorial to the Department of the Navy. President Spencer will first pass the Montford Point Marine statue to the Montford Point Marines, represented by Sergeant John Spencer. Sergeant Spencer served with 2nd Marine Ammunition Company following basic training at Montford Point Camp and served from 1943 to 1963. Sergeant John Spencer will now symbolically pass the Montford Point Marine statue on to Lieutenant General Hedelund. Lieutenant General Hedelund is now accepting the Montford Point Marine Memorial on behalf of the Department of the Navy. Lieutenant General Hedelund, will you please join President Spencer at the podium?
This is what happens when you have one man running. Outstanding. Sir, it's with great honor that you accepted the invitation to come out today and represent the Department of the Navy in this gifting ceremony. I'm not exactly sure if you fully understand the gravity of our gratitude for you being here and what the Montford Point Marine Memorial means not only to the association, to the city of Jacksonville, but it is a constant reminder that the memorial is Marine Corps history and not just a specific African American history. And so today what we want to do is we want to memorialize your participation in today's event. And this gift reads as follows. The National Montford Point Marine Association Incorporated presented to Lieutenant General Robert F. Hedelund, Commanding General, 2nd Marine Expeditionary Force, serving as presiding official officer, Montford Point Marine Memorial Gifting Ceremony, thereby ensuring the successful transfer of the Montford Point Marine Memorial to the Department of the Navy, dated July 25th, 2018. I really appreciate you being down. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, gentlemen. Now, please welcome Sergeant Edwin J. Pfizer as he comes forward to offer reflections on behalf of the Montford Point Marines. Sergeant Pfizer trained with 9th Platoon, 51st Defense Battalion at Montford Point Camp and served from 15 July 1942 to 23 December 1945.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sergeant Edwin J. Pfizer from the 9th Platoon of the Montford Point Marines. I am really walking history again because I served in both battalions, the 51st and the 52nd.
Amen.
Now, I'm passing out some literature to you right now. You've heard a lot of stories about how the Montford Point Marines were formed. Well, in Philadelphia, I have a document that I've been carrying for over 65 years that tells the true story of how it happened. When we went into the Marine Corps as enlistees, they were not expecting us, and they were not expecting anything in the form of us. So consequently, we had to do everything ourselves. We created, I'm wearing 2 patches, 151, 152. Started out in the 51st and finished it. They shipped, and then they kept 300 of us back to form the 52nd, and I shipped with the 52nd. The patches that you see on my shoulder were non-existent. They were created by artists in the 51st and the 52nd and sent to Washington and approved, and they're still there today as a part of this monument that you see behind my back. The guns that they went and got out of the New York Park were Seacoast artillery guns that had been there since World War I. These were the guns, and the 90mm gun you see behind me is also one that we took and broke every standing record in the United States Marine Corps.
Right.
Now, I must also say my good morning to General Hedelund and the honored guest here, the Montford Point Marines. Ladies and gentlemen, didn't want to omit that because I'm grateful to see you here soaking up history.
Very good.
And this is a day that you should never forget because you are participating in American history. You're turning a page today in history. Thank you for coming out. We're glad to see you, and keep on keeping on.
Right. Very good.
Thank you. And the last thing I want to say is simplify. And I tell all the young people I talk to, always do your best when you do, because you never know when you're making history. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's give Sergeant Fires another round of applause, please. Original Montford Point and 9th Platoon.
Thank you, Sergeant Pfizer.